Tomb Raider 2. The 1997 sequel to the original smash hit that came out only a year earlier, the buxom Brit Lara Croft returns with more moves, more tombs, kind of, more guns, more merciless animal slaughter, more falling to her death when I absolutely pressed jump, and more polygons. Let's just say Lara was a much more well-rounded character this time around. Hello everyone, my name is Mage, and today I'm going to tell you as best I can some of the many reasons I love Tomb Raider 2. Now, Tomb Raider 2 was actually the first game in the series that I played. I was probably around 7 or 8, and it was one of the many PS1 games that I borrowed from my uncle and never gave back. Sorry, Alan. Come to think of it, he had the first one too. Why didn't we borrow that one first? Huh. It was the first game of its kind I'd ever seen, and the sheer scale of it was just awesome. I was instantly in love. And no, not just because she's got big boobs. I was a kid, okay? Although I bet that's why my uncle bought it. Sorry, Alan. It felt like a true adventure, like I'd stepped inside of an Indiana Jones movie. But instead of a rugged archaeologist in a fedora, we had the utterly charming and impossibly proportioned Miss Croft. It was also one of the first video games my parents took a huge interest in too. I remember we would all take turns trying difficult jumps, bosses, or just most of the time figuring out what the hell we were supposed to do. Have you tried pushing that switch again? Yes, I bloody have, it doesn't work! Up until that point, we'd never had such a unified bonding experience as a family. I was just reaching the age where I could start to appreciate these kinds of things, and even to this day, we all remember those late nights exploring together very fondly, even if it was incredibly challenging most of the time. Tomb Raider 2, like its predecessor, was hard as nails. Or should I say blood-soaked spikes? Yeah, no, that's probably more appropriate. It does absolutely no hand-holding. And even playing as an adult, it's really not clear a lot of the time what a certain switch just did, where you're supposed to go, or what that key item's for. Key item. Get it? It could lead to a lot of frustration. All these bloody canals look the same! But when you stumbled across the solution to a puzzle you've been stuck on for days, the sense of satisfaction was immense. I do wish more games would harken back to these design principles, although maybe not quite to this extent. Safe to say, we never actually beat it. I think we got past the Venice levels and then had to resort to cheat codes my mum would print out from what must have been a super old website, along with guides that we'd try to follow but would invariably get confused reading and get even more lost. I wonder if those guides are still online somewhere. The opening cutscene absolutely terrified me. The bit when the dragon shrivels up and you see its skeleton, Jesus Christ. Oh, and the bit where the guy gets trapped inside that scary door? Why the heck was I allowed to play this? To be honest though, the whole game scared me shitless. I was very young, and I swear, every single room I would go into, I would instantly scan for and make a beeline to any sort of ledge or platform I could climb up to. Not because I had a thing for the fancy climb animation, or a fetish for high altitudes, but because I would feel safe. Most enemies wouldn't be able to reach me. Except when they could. Sorry, Lara. It would cause me so much anxiety if I was playing it by myself, that I would straight up just play the tutorial level over and over instead. I'd be willing to bet most of my playtime on this game throughout my entire life has been spent in Lara's mansion.
Wow, what a mansion!
Without a doubt, one of my favorite levels in any game ever. It starts off with an assault course, with Lara narrating and instructing you throughout. It's not that difficult, but as a kid, this was basically impossible.
No, that's not right.
That was your fault! So I would quickly abandon it and just explore the grounds. I would always try to jump over the wall here and explore the British countryside. Spoilers, you can't. It was on this level that I would discover many things about myself. I learned that I found the sound of Lara's body crumpling to the floor after a heavy fall directly on her head was incredibly satisfying. I learned that water effects in games would be something I would scrutinize and obsess over to an unhealthy degree for the rest of my life. Whew. And I learned that I loved to lock poor defenseless old men in giant walk-in meat freezers. Oh, don't get on your moral high horse, you did it too. Also, Winston farts when you walk behind him. Tremendous. Well, the Tomb Raider games had levels based in Croft Manor, but 2's will always be my favourite. Now, Tomb Raider 1's first level eases you into the game very gently. You shoot a few bats, the level's fairly linear, and it feels more like a casual stroll through a snowy cave with the occasional easily dealt with threat. Tomb Raider 2? It just pushes you straight in at the deep end, with 2 cinder blocks tied to your feet and a sandbag strapped to your ass. The first level is brutal! You slide down into a basin after rappelling down from a heliflopper, and immediately you are set upon by a freaking tiger. The stripy snaggle beast is very aggressive, and that roar sound will forever haunt my dreams. The contrast between the greys and greens with the fiery orange of the murder kitty is striking, and my god, I've never ran so fast to find a way up a cliff. Once you make your way up to the Great Wall itself... Wait a minute. Why didn't the chopper just drop us off on the actual wall? What a bastard. Anyway, once you get up there, the real fun begins. There's a murder of crows that tried to murder you. The spiders, oh my god, the spiders. The little scuttling noises they make. If the Great Wall of China wasn't an incredibly important historical wonder of massive cultural significance, I would suggest just burning it to the ground and starting from scratch. No thank you. Did you know that inside the Great Wall of China is actually a long series of death traps? No? Well, this is what Tomb Raider 2 has taught me, and video games are never wrong. This gauntlet of dark walls, collapsing floors, spike traps, and boulders is quite frankly so intimidating and difficult, I can absolutely guarantee this has ended many an adventure very prematurely. I bet every single Tomb Raider 2 trade-in at Blockbuster was probably due to this sequence, and I love it. It's so utterly ballsy, making the first level in the game so bloody difficult. You have to respect the audacity of it all, and it's so memorable because of it. I really can't say enough good things about it. From the trap-filled corridors of the Great Wall, to the murky waterways of Venice, from the rusting shipwreck of the Maria Doria, to wherever the heck that is. I felt like the sheer variety of locations was incredible, even if a lot of them strayed quite far from the tombs of the original. Traversing them is also incredibly fun. For the time, Lara controlled exceptionally well. Running, jumping, climbing, swimming, all felt fantastic. Even if she did jump like she was on the moon. They added some neat touches like rolling mid-jump to change direction, vehicles, and disposable flares, things I always forget weren't a thing in the original whenever I go back and play it. The flares in particular are very useful because boy did they make some areas stupidly dark. Another reason why I found this game so scary as a kid. But the lighting effect was seriously impressive. It made the levels so atmospheric. And just like in the first game, the lack of music actually enhances this. Although this track is an absolute tune and I will hum it until the day I die. Oh my god, it's so good! The Venice levels in particular are probably my most memorable. We spent countless hours running through Venice, getting shot at by horrendously buff, angry Italians. Seriously, have you seen these character models? It's like they accidentally set arm thickness slider all the way to oak tree. They could crush Resident Evil 5 Chris Redfield like a small pigeon. Tomb Raider 2 definitely focuses more on enemy encounters and combat more than the original. Lara kills so many people. Like, she should probably be put on some sort of list. She wasn't just content with bringing several species of wolf and lion to the brink of extinction. She needed to murder every mobster in Italy as well. I know this is a pretty common complaint about Tomb Raider 2, that it leans too hard on the action and not enough on actually raiding tombs. But since this was my first experience of the series, I didn't see an issue with it. This was just the norm. In fact, I remember playing Tomb Raider 1 afterwards and thinking the game was incredibly empty. The game has quite a larger selection of weaponry this time around too, probably to compensate for all the enemies you're gonna have to kill. My favourite were always the Uzis and the automatic pistols, which I would always call atomic pistols, because I was a kid and apparently couldn't read. What the heck is this wizardry? An infinitely swinging box. Okay then. The laws of physics in Tomb Raider are weird. The middle portion of the game, I must admit, is a bit of a mixed bag for me. The oil rig in particular is pretty bland and much more akin to a siphon filter game than a Tomb Raider. Also, this has got to be the most dangerous oil rig in the world. That has to be violating about 80 different health and safety codes. Exploring the sunken wreck of the ship afterwards, though, is pretty amazing. Even if the beginning of that one level with the shark is probably why I'm deathly afraid of the ocean to this day. Forget Jaws, look at that thing! I was pretty obsessed with sunken ships as a kid, so it fascinated me. From there, it's off to Tibet, and these levels are a really nice return to a more classic Tomb Raider feel. Even if, again, there are so many enemies. Oh my god, the snowmobile! It felt amazing to race past enemies, or over them, and that music. Seriously, the music might be sparse in this game, but what of it there is bloody brilliant. The snowmobile controls about as well as the speedboat. That is to say, not at all, but as a kid, I didn't have anything else to compare it to, and I loved every second. The final section of the game really goes all in on the otherworldly and fantastical elements of the story. Because we ended up using the level skip cheat a heck of a lot, when we got to these levels, I remember just thinking, what the ever-living shit is going on? But again, they add some really nice visual variety to the game. Now, for those of you worrying that I'm going to get into spoilers on the story at this point in the video, don't. I wish I could tell you all of my thoughts on it, my favorite plot points or reveals, but I have literally no idea. If you held a gun to my head and said I had 3 chances to describe the overall plot of Tomb Raider 2, I would just pull the trigger myself. Something about a sacred dagger, Italian mobsters are involved somehow, and we end up fighting a giant dragon at the end. That's about it. Even as an adult, I don't really play Tomb Raider for the story. It's all about the exploring, the atmosphere, feeling like you're rediscovering these long-lost, forgotten places. I really didn't need a reason or excuse, I just wanted to raid some tombs. And shoot a lot of animals. Tomb Raider 2 got me hooked on the series, and it wouldn't be long before we tracked down copies of 1 and 4. Never owned 3 for some reason. I think I borrowed it from a friend at one point and played it quite a lot, but we never owned it. I've loved most of the Tomb Raider games. No, not you, Angel of Darkness. Go back to your hole, but 2 will always be my favorite. It's definitely aged badly in quite a few departments compared to modern games, but it still delivers a great sense of adventure and peril. I feel like I owe it a great debt, as this was the first video game that really solidified for me just how much I loved immersing myself in these virtual worlds. And without it, I may not have even gone on to experience so many others. It gave me some truly precious memories, and I will forever be grateful to it for that. thank you so much everyone for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I put a lot of time into this, and these kinds of videos are just really fun for me to make. So please, if you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it wherever you can. That would really help me out. And please, comment below. I'd love to hear your Tomb Raider 2 stories. Which one is your favorite in the series? Thanks again, everyone. It means so much to me that you guys checked this video out and watched all the way to the end. Thank you. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now. Can I please come out, Miss Lara?
No.